12 Stories. The knowledge, clarity, and insight you have been waiting for.
Before we start, a standing disclosure. Several stories this week involve Anthropic. We have known contacts there, and we use its AI as a research and writing tool. Our editorial decisions are made independently. Anthropic has no role in what we report or how we report it, and everything we report comes from public sources. 12 stories, 1 week. Here's what happened.
Story 1. The memo that says a vendor can't pull the plug. On June 5th, President Trump signed NSPM 11, a national security directive that rolls back a Biden-era rule. The new rule? No vendor can disable, degrade, or modify an AI system warfighters depend on without prior government approval. Agencies are directed to drop contractors who repeatedly restrict government access. The Pentagon has 90 days to update its Autonomy in Weapons directive. A classified annex follows. The memo doesn't name a company. Analysts at CFR and Benton read it as aimed at AI labs that have reserved the right to pull their models over ethics concerns. That is a widely held read, not a confirmed one. Story 2. SpaceX goes public. SpaceX debuted on NASDAQ today, ticker SPCX, priced at $135, roughly $75 billion raised. Valuation, approximately $1.75 trillion, the largest IPO on record. Senator Warren asked the SEC to delay it. The SEC didn't. The S-1 contains one disclosure that needs to be read precisely. Anthropic agreed to pay $1.25 billion per month through May 2029 for compute across SpaceX's Colossus infrastructure, terminable by either party on 90 days' notice. Hold that figure carefully. The $1.25 billion per month is a contract headline confirmed by Anthropic, but SpaceX's own financial disclosures show its entire AI infrastructure business at roughly $1.36 billion per year. Those two numbers don't reconcile. The monthly figure most likely reflects Anthropic's total commitment across multiple providers, not revenue flowing directly to SpaceX. We are not saying SpaceX earns $15 billion a year from Anthropic. The math doesn't support that. Story 3. The IPO triple. 3 AI companies are simultaneously moving toward public markets. SpaceX debuted today. Anthropic filed a confidential S-1 on June 1st, reportedly valued at around $965 billion, targeting October. OpenAI filed its own confidential S-1 on June 8th, valued above $852 billion, targeting September through December. Combined, approximately $3.6 trillion seeking public capital at the same time. And with our disclosure in mind, on reported figures, Anthropic's valuation tops OpenAI's. The confidential filing is confirmed. The number is reported, not primary sourced. Story 4. The government pulls a model. On Friday evening, the federal government did something widely described as unprecedented. It forced a commercially deployed AI model offline. The Commerce Department sent Anthropic a letter from Secretary Howard Lutnick, citing national security and barring any foreign national from using 2 of its newest models, Fable 5 and Mythos 5. To comply, Anthropic shut both down for everyone. Its other models, including the one you're hearing now, still work. What's confirmed, the directive, the shutdown, and that a license is now required even to transfer these models. Anthropic says this is an overreaction to a narrow flaw, one its engineers call minor, already known, and findable in other public AI models too, and calls the whole thing a misunderstanding that, taken as a standard, would freeze new AI releases across the industry. The government tells it differently. An administration official says Commerce acted after another company claimed it had broken through Mythos's safeguards, that the administration had already asked Anthropic to hold the release and been refused. and that the models stay locked until federal defenses are hardened, possibly within weeks. Both sides are describing the same event. They disagree on what it means. What no one can tell you yet. The government hasn't put its full reasoning on the record. So far, it's one official, speaking anonymously. And there's no verified, independent read on how serious the flaw really is. Only unverified claims in both directions. What stands out is the precedent. For what appears to be the first time, whether a frontier AI model stays on the market was decided not by the company that built it, but by the government. One disclosure on this story. Fable 5 and Mythos 5 are Anthropic's own models, and Anthropic, as we noted at the top, is a company we have contacts at and whose AI we use as a research tool. We're reporting it being pulled regardless. Story 5. The government's AI evaluator goes dark, reportedly. The Wall Street Journal and others report that the administration directed CAISI, the Center for AI Standards and Innovation, the government's own AI evaluator, to halt its public model assessments. CAISI continues evaluating internally. Results are moving to classified channels. The named trigger is concern about misuse of powerful models, including Mythos. Two things to hold separately. The June 2nd executive order does not mention CAISI and does not order this halt. The EO creates a classified cyber benchmarking process and a voluntary framework, a separate thing. The CAISI halt is a separately reported directive, unconfirmed by the administration. We are carrying this as reported. There is no primary source. Story 6. The Pentagon expands its China list. On June 9th, the DoD updated its Section 1260H list of military-linked entities from roughly 130 to 188. New additions: Alibaba, Baidu, BYD, NIO, and Wuxi AppTech. A direct contracting ban takes effect June 30th. Indirect restrictions follow in 2027. All 5 companies deny the designation. The update lands weeks after the Trump-Xi trade truce. Wuxi AppTech is a contract drug manufacturer tied to pharmaceutical supply chains globally, including in the United States. Its appearance on this list has reach beyond defense. Story 7. Apple pulls Siri AI from the EU. At Apple's developer conference on June 8th, Apple announced Siri AI will not launch in the European Union with iOS 27. Apple had requested an 18-month exemption from the EU's Digital Markets Act, which requires Apple to open its system to rivals. The Commission rejected it. A Commission spokesperson put it bluntly: the decision is Apple's, and Apple's only. An exemption is not an option. EU law is non-negotiable. 1 billion EU users will get the next iPhone without its AI features. That is a legal limitation, not a technical one. Story 8. Cities are saying no to data centers. On June 9th, the Seattle City Council voted 9-0 for a 1-year moratorium on new large data centers, the biggest, most power-hungry facilities extendable. New York is positioned to become the first state to pause under a bill from Governor Hochul. Nationally, more than 70 jurisdictions now have bans or moratoriums on new data center construction. Story 9. Golden Dome scales toward production. In the week of June 1st, the Pentagon awarded a $4.16 billion contract for the space-based sensor and tracking layer of Golden Dome. Northrop Grumman and Apex Space received awards for space-based interceptor development, on-orbit demonstration targeted for 2027. 12 development awards went out. One caution: despite reports, SpaceX is not a confirmed part of this. A WSJ report on a $2 billion 600-satellite contract is unconfirmed. We are not putting SpaceX in Golden Dome as fact. Story 10. AI is moving to orbit. On June 8th, during IPO week, SpaceX unveiled the AI-1 orbital compute satellite. 2 prototypes are planned for early 2027. The S-1 discloses plans to put full AI compute capacity in orbit as early as 2028, using Starlink for connectivity. For context, SpaceX filed with the FCC for this constellation in January 2026. That is regulatory context, not a this-week development. The data centers drawing moratoriums on the ground are being replaced, in concept, by infrastructure that doesn't need a zoning permit. Story 11. Bumblebees solve a problem no one asked them to solve. Published June 4th in the journal Science, peer-reviewed, researchers gave bumblebees a puzzle they could only crack by first solving a hidden step no one had trained them to do. They solved it, spontaneously. It is a controlled experiment in spontaneous problem-solving in an insect, in one of the most respected journals in science. Story 12. First patient dosed. Life Biosciences has dosed the first patient in a Phase 1 trial of ER100, a partial cell reprogramming therapy targeting age-related vision loss. The therapy attempts to reset aged cells in the eye to a younger, healthier state without replacing them. Phase 1 establishes safety. It does not establish efficacy. That is all that has been established.
Accountability. The week opened on a memo that says a vendor can't pull the plug, that once AI is inside a weapons system, it stays there unless the government says otherwise. It moved through the week. Markets being asked to price $3.6 trillion in AI-era ambition. A model pulled off the market, not by the company that built it, but by the government, over a risk the two sides still can't agree on. The government's mechanism for evaluating that model reportedly moved out of public view. Cities voting 9-0 against the buildings the industry needs. A missile defense system moving to orbit beyond the reach of a zoning board or a city council. And then a bumblebee. And then a person in a chair who said yes first. Every story this week is a version of the same question. Who gets to see, who gets to decide, and who finds out after the fact? We don't have a clean answer. Neither does anyone else. But that's the week. That's 12 stories. We'll be back next week.
12 Stories. The knowledge, clarity, and insight you have been waiting for.